That's Santos Bonacci, actually. That's his music, Santos Band. And that's my guest, Santos Bonacci. Thank you for being here with me today. Oh, it kind of looks like he's left. Oh, wait, he's coming back.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought it was going to go a little bit long, and I went and got a nice warm tea.
Oh, well, good. Do you have the tea or do you need to go get it? Okay, good. Perfect.
No, I've got it.
You're the first guest I've gone to who's not been there.
I have sorry.
had don't apologize. I think it's great. I have had a guest who did an entire interview from a speeding car. So, you never know what's going to happen. Well, thank you for being here. You're in Melbourne, Australia. Am I correct?
No, I'm actually in Queensland, in the north.
Oh, Queensland. Did you used to live in Melbourne? I know the band Santos is out of Melbourne. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Well,
I was there for about 25 years.
So you moved to the north then?
Yeah.
What was the reason that you moved?
There's a permaculture farm here, and the lifestyle that I want to live off the grid, I'm living off the grid, totally off the grid. So I want to be living the example that I'm teaching and get out of cities. I want to teach people by example. Yes, I would be much more comfortable, say, where all my relatives are in Victoria. I would be much more comfortable and happy in that social kind of context. But here, this affords me to be a hermit, and at the same time, a hermit, if you could call it that. I mean, I really do need to to be probably total hermit. It is impossible because of what I'm doing with the teaching and everything like that. So what I'm doing is just syncretism and the hermetic lifestyle, totally off the grid, grow our own vegetables and food and stuff here. And we're going to have retreats up here where we can do teaching off the grid living and syncretism and all of the sacred sciences all in one. We've done one. We did one in November, and that was good. And we're going to do about 3 or 4 a year. So that will be something for folks to look out for if they want to learn about living off the grid. We've got the model.
It's ideal, actually, what you're doing. It's one of those things, and I've mentioned this before, that I'd love to do, but it's the getting there, the getting into the right location, where you have the food supply, where you have the community involved. And I, as well, am a bit of a hermit, less so than you, but since I had Flat Earth come into my life, I've become more and more hermetic, and I'm not quite sure why. I think I spend a lot more time online studying things, and you've been online and everywhere with books, old books and newer books, studying for years. So it's somewhat new to me, old hat for you. Now we have started talking today because of Flat Earth. However, I've followed you for a very long time. Many people, of course, obviously have. But Flat Earth, although it's something that you've kind of known about for years, you've recently come out as a Flat Earther. How did you decide to start speaking about it publicly?
Okay, so obviously I had Flat Earthers sending me videos and all sorts of information because I was doing the heliocentric model with all my presentations. And I would look at them because I felt that I had a responsibility as a teacher, and to do due diligence, I would have to look at all things, being a syncretist. And so this would have started about 3.5 years ago. At first, I was very, very abrupt with the information, probably watched half of the videos and thought, nah, this can't be right. It just can't be right. Due to the indoctrination, it doesn't fit in with what we've been taught. So, but eventually seeing the numbers of people contacting me with this, and seeing the good points and evidence that they were bringing forward, I eventually realized that I had to look at this much more seriously. So I would have started in earnest around about 2013, 2013, 2014, probably about middle of 2014. And so all of 2015, I was doing deep research into this subject. I've got Christian topography here by Cosmos of the 6th century. And I actually bought this book in the 7th month of 2010. And why would I buy this book? Now, I bought this book to ridicule this guy, to show how stupid the Christians were. not Christianity, the Christendom and the corporate Christian. I have nothing against Christianity. It's a beautiful, beautiful theology. And I feel that I am Christian, in that I concur with everything they say, knowing the true meaning of the scriptures. But I bought this to ridicule them, because now we know that we live on the globe, don't we? We've got photographic evidence and all of this stuff now. We're so smart now in the last 500 years. And to debunk this guy. Then I bought books like this, Samuel Rowbotham and Zetetic Astronomy. Wonderful stuff. I'm going to be reading out of this today a little bit. And so I did my studies in earnest on this subject. And then early 2015, I started introducing flat earth concepts. Now, not a lot of people paid attention to this. In June of 2015, I did a show with Greg Carlwood on the Higher Side Chats.
I love
him. And there does a great job, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. And I like how he started small and he's been growing his whole show, and he was able to kind of not exactly live off the grid, but quit a regular job where he was working for the man and work for himself and live his passions and dreams by doing his show. So I really applaud that. But please continue, Santos.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to congratulate you on your show too, and I really appreciate the other subjects that you discuss. I've heard you talking about veganism and many other very important subjects, and I'm very happy that you're doing this, and I just hats off to you. It's wonderful that you can discuss all of these subjects and you put this show for folks like me, and I thank you for accepting me on your show, Patricia.
Well, thank you for doing me the honor of being on here. And I do want to touch on not eating flesh and that sort of thing as we progress in our conversation, if that's okay with you.
Oh, that'll come up with me. That will come up, sister. Don't you worry about that.
Good. Wonderful. All right. So you were on Greg Carlwood's The Higher Side Chats podcast. I recommend everyone check that out. And tell us more about what happened there.
Okay. Well, I spoke to Greg about the flat Earth, and that we do live in a sphere, not on a sphere. It's a spherical. There are 10 spheres surrounding this planet. And I did mention it there in June. Shortly after that, in August, as everyone knows, I did 6-7 weeks in jail. And of course, after that, I had a lot of time to think about things there. And I realized that there's great onerous responsibility on people like me who put themselves out in the public and tell forth truths. Okay? So, I'm a researcher, and I'm saying here that I'm telling and sharing and researching truth. So I realized that all my presentations were based on a false model, the heliocentric model, and that I would have to do something to correct that a lot more and make presentations and so forth when I got out, and I did. And so in October was when I first started pushing and promoting flat Earth videos by great researchers. I had done way before that, but people weren't paying attention. So what happened was a lot of people got upset, and they started suggesting that I was tampered with in prison, you know, MK Ultra'd or something like that, you know. And so, oh, now he's all different. He's changed his tune and he's debunked all his previous work. Well, the intelligent people, of course, didn't come to those conclusions, but the less intelligent ones did. Why would I debunk all of the good work that I have done? I mean, it's ludicrous. Nonetheless, this is the sort of thing that you get. You get attacked. And I've had massive, severe attacks from people, and I've been bombarded. I've also been supported wonderfully by great intelligent people. I mean, I've had so much support. It's nothing to sneeze at. It's been very wonderful to see that support. So, but at the same time, I was moving house. My laptop hard drive failed. I had so many disasters in my life that it was very hard for me to sit down and do something to offer to the public to show that, yes, it is me, and yes, I am a disc earther. I don't really like the term flat, because the earth is not exactly flat. I mean, there are mountain ranges and things that cancel this expression flat. I mean, it's a disc, it's a plane, a planet, and you can also call it a planet. There's nothing wrong with that, because planet comes from plane. And in the same breath, you can call it a sphere, as I will explain as we go. So what I had was moving house and so many other personal things going on in my life that I had to deal with. So finally now, it's only been in the last couple of weeks that I've been able to do presentations like this, to be able to put my face to my words rather than just post on Facebook. Nonetheless, I have been very short with people, and I have been very abrupt and not very nice to, say, people who I expected should know better. And unfortunately, my Aryan and Calabrian nervous nature comes out, and I am very abrupt. I do apologize to anyone who I've hurt, and especially the heavens and myself, and hopefully can forgive myself for being so rude at times and abrupt. But I ain't here for personality contests. I'm here for the truth, and I will draw my last breath exposing lies, if they still exist, whilst I am living in this current universal timeline, whatever you want to call it. So all the presentations, I've probably presented 3 or 4 great, well researched and well produced products, videos, websites, etc., showing the reality and truth of the flat earth plane that we live on. And yet, notwithstanding this, even some people who have been followers of syncretism for a long time have come out and shown their true lack of intelligence and have attacked. And so, you know, unfortunately, I haven't been as composed as I have in former times, and I have attacked and retaliated back in defense of the truth. I will do that at all times anyway, but I just have to learn how to do it a lot more nicely. So,
I can imagine it's a bit stressful, even for those of us like myself who were only briefly looking into certain things, follower of you, follower of many other people, but no, I didn't really know about flat earth. And then when I switched, came out as a flat earther, I was attacked by actually people in the vegan community, because I was doing a lot of vegan stuff on my page. That's what my passion was, aside from fashion, which although I still wear the clothes I had when I had a clothing store, that to me just seems so superficial now. But anyway, attacked by vegans. And I know it's nothing like, your large group of people you have an influence over and you participate with. But I felt quite hurt by that, because I thought, hey, you guys are, I thought, very open-minded already. And, I was defriended in droves, and even by people who were non-vegan too. So we all in the flat earth world, or disc earth world, have felt that. But for you, you were being attacked because you flipped to a new way of looking at Earth. And also people thought that all of the work you'd done before now was no longer valid. So that's like a knife in your heart. I can imagine that you might be a little testy over that. Plus 6 months in prison for contempt of court, in quotes. I mean, you know, people are lucky that you didn't really go in completely crazy on everyone. So forgiving yourself is probably quite important.
Yeah, look, I do realize that I'm going to need a lot of time in the rainforest here, but I'm on my own. I do live on my own. And I'm happy with that. I've made that decision, and I've been looking for this kind of lifestyle for a very long time, knowing that time alone and meditating, and actually, I haven't even done 1 minute of meditating since I've been here. Since I've been so busy having to deal with all of this, you know, immense amount of flack and just immense amount of communications with me, and I haven't, and I will never be able to answer all the emails and messages from people. Probably 90% of them are good messages of support, and 10% of viciousness and attacks. So I will have to let that go and just give myself more time. But nonetheless, here I am, and the subject is the zetetic azimuthal equidistant planisphere projection of the beautiful place in which we live. And what I'll be doing is presenting proofs of this, Patricia. What I found is that on the one side, this argument is very, very unbalanced, with the globalists on one side and the flat earthers on the other side. These guys here are very, very intelligent. Not to say that these people aren't, but these people have suspended their intelligence, as I did when I defaulted to the globalist, the ball model in my presentations. And whereas these people have allowed themselves to keep their minds open and research. And what they're bringing forward is great evidence. I mean, there's some great, amazing researchers here on this side. Let me mention some of the guys. You had allegedly Dave, who I had friendship with, and met up in England when I did a tour of the UK in 2013. Dave and I hang out at Stonehenge. We both presented at the Stonehenge Truth Juice gathering, and we hung out. We had lunch together a few times and spoke a lot. And this way, I came to see that Dave was he's a scientist. He's a genius. The guy is a genius. And to see him on your show was beautiful as well. And people like that have made such great videos and presentations, very, very scientific, full of evidences, proofs, truths, and facts. Whereas on the other side, you have nothing. Pseudoscience, absolutely nothing. Stuff like, oh, yes, but we've got photos of a globe. Photos? I've never seen a photo of globe Earth. There never has been one in existence. NASA themselves tell you that they are images. An image can be anything from a cartoon to something you paint in your garage. And they're quite honest when they lie to you, NASA, actually. They're very, very honest. They're always lying to you. They are an organization of pure lies. And yet they will tell it to you truthfully. See, people don't think. We have images of a sphere which are totally erroneous and totally fraudulent and false. And so folks like Dave, we've got wonderful people like Mr. Thrive and Survive. I'm not thinking of names right now because I wasn't actually prepared for that.
Well, while you're thinking, I'll just mention that if anyone wants to see the show that allegedly Dave D Murphy 25, his YouTube channel, and I did, it's episode number 5 of Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, and we did it September 7th. So it's a really good show. It's an infamous show because there was a time during the program where Dave and I were talking about the many uses of coconut water, and somebody thought that we had said that you should feed blood to babies when we were saying that you could use coconut water for an emergency blood transfusion or to in an emergency as a replacement for milk for babies. So it's an infamous episode, and it's probably my most viewed episode because people were freaking out thinking I was saying that you should feed blood to babies and viewing it. So I got a really high view count on that one due to misinformation. So
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, that's episode 5, and it's a great episode, and Dave is fantastic in it. It was really a pleasure to talk to him, and we do occasionally speak, Skype, and interact on Facebook. Of just a great person. So
Yeah. Yeah, I found my list. Jeranism, The Morgile, Vince Bryant, Daniel Pratt, as I said, Mr. Truth, Mr. Thrive and Survive. Of course, I appreciate Eric Dubé's work. I appreciate also Math Powerland and what he's doing. I think those guys, look, they're wonderful researchers, and they've done a lot of, there's a lot of ego getting in the way of this truth. There's no place for ego stroking in truth telling. This is the problem here, and we all fall for it. We're all, I don't know, guilty to an extent, because the false ego is almost, it's like the indoctrination we've had with the globe. No matter how hard you try to get rid of that creature, it always lingers. We have to raise that. Our intelligence and embrace the higher ego. The ego will always be there, but the false ego is the one that identifies with everything here on this illusory plane. And so, you know, I want to urge these great guys to really just, you know, lose that. We can do it. We can do it, and we will do it, and we are doing it. There's no place for ego stroking and truth telling. They don't match. They don't mix. So I really enjoy Flat Earth Answers, Proofs and Truths. That's another beautiful doco. Top 10 lame reasons that show the Earth is not round. 200 Proofs Earth is not a spinning ball by Eric Dubé. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. A funny thing that happened on the way to the moon is a must watch. Astronauts Gone Wild is a must watch. Why are all the astronauts running away from, ever since they came back to Earth from their phony little capsule coming down, they have been very elusive in their interviews, very guilty looking, all the way up to Bart Sabrell's work in this wonderful, wonderful documentary, Astronauts Gone Wild. Why is Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, why are they actually getting physical and violent when they are being asked questions, and to swear on the Bible that they actually landed on the moon? Simple. It's because they did not land on the moon. It is impossible for human beings in these bodies to go to that luminous body, and we'll deal with that as we have time. So I'll just put that in there now. And just one more video, Flat Earth for Dummies is a must watch. All of these products are full of evidence, full of facts and proofs that we live not on a spinning ball. And I'm going to share some of these evidences myself, and very simple ones. So Patricia, if you will allow me, just to debunk the ball in short sentences, and for the intelligent ones. First of all, first and foremostly, the gyroscope. People need to understand what the gyroscope is, and how ships, submarines, Mark II, 3, 4, military planes, they all have gyroscopes in them so that they can always align themselves with flat, and so that they know exactly where it is that they are. Now, a gyroscope will always align itself and orient itself to its original starting position. So, for instance, if you hop in a Mark III plane, and you know these military guys, they're always doing these wonderful maneuvers and everything. So they need that when they balance out. They need the gyroscope to know where they are, and whether they are still, you know, flying like this or flying like that, because you know, they're susceptible to dizziness and what have you. And so a gyroscope can only work on a flat plane forever, wherever you go, whether you're flying 1,000 miles that way or 1,000 miles that way. It cannot work on a spinning ball because it does not depend. It is independent of so-called gravity, which does not exist. And I'll get to that too. So gyroscope, number one. Number two, I've got these written down, but I'm not doing them in order now because, anyway, time-lapse photos of the North Pole. A lot of people use this to suggest, oh, well, you see, look at the time-lapse, the perfect time-lapse photography of the North Pole. In fact, shows that the Earth is not moving at all, and that roof, whatever it is, that firmament, vault, dome, whatever it is we have above us, I call it spheres because I know from the ancient, all of the ancient sciences and works that I've studied, that they always refer to this cosmos in terms of spheres. And so those time-lapse images can only be correct if that camera was positioned directly under or at the North Pole. It is impossible to be on a spinning ball to get that effect unless the cameraman was directly, his central axis of his body or his camera, it was lined directly at the North Pole. You can only do this at the North Pole and get that effect on a spinning ball. Therefore, the spinning ball has been debunked perfectly by all of these images of time-lapse cameras at the North Pole. It's simple. Intelligence must prevail. Only ignorance and stupidity can suggest that we are spinning. Because on a ball, let's say, see that what they say is that we have this tilt here and then there's Polaris. And so someone's over here in England, 45 degrees, let's say about 45 degrees latitude or even less, I think, or it doesn't matter, wherever they are. And they're pointing their cameras up here, right? Now, in 2 hours, in 2 or 3 hours, some of these time-lapse images go for about all night, you know, so they start at early evening and finish in the early hours of the morning. So some of them extend to about 10 hours, you know, 10, 12 hours. So this guy here, who's actually got his camera lined up to Polaris, he's actually now over here at about, say, 10 hours time. This itself, this spin of the Earth itself, absolutely disqualifies those images. We can only be on terra firma. That's why we call it terra firma, because it is firma and it is immovable, non-rotating. And those images prove it. That's all you need. These two, the gyroscope and the time-lapse camera images of the North Pole alone should be enough for intelligent people to spark up and go, whoops, I was wrong. And there's many, many more. I mean, I've got millions and millions and millions of these evidences. So this is what's going on a wobbling, spinning, rotating Earth, especially at 1,000, supposedly at the equator, 1,000 miles an hour here we're rotating, which is totally obscene and ridiculous. That is just simply impossible, because this movement here would cause those star trails to go off on a tangent equal to the displacement of the latitude that the person is standing on here. So if the person is standing over here and he's at 35 degrees latitude, well, then you must see, rather than seeing perfect star trails going around like that, perfect. You would see this going off on a tangent at 35 degrees. You would have to. It is impossible to be on a spinning ball and to get that effect. So,
And you're right there in Australia, so you'd be at the bottom of the ball, and that would mean you're probably wearing a seatbelt right now, and all the furniture in your place is glued to the ground because you're upside down, right?
yeah, right. Well, if you look over there, you can see my bed, and if you look over there, you can see my fridge. Now, gravity's so intelligent, isn't it now? I mean, gravity says, okay, fridge, you're going to be stuck upside down to this little cottage's floor. No worries about that. But the mosquitoes and the butterflies that I can see flying around, of course, they don't believe in gravity because they haven't studied it. So no worries. They can flitter and flatter and fly around, totally ignoring gravity. And the dust particles and the water vapors, of course, the water vapors happily climb up there, whilst ocean liners down here in Newcastle. Newcastle is one of the biggest ports here in Australia, just down the coast from me. There are ocean liners coming from all over the world lining up full of cargo. They are megalithic ocean liners, and they happen to be stuck to the bottom of the globe here with all the water, tons and billions of tons of ocean stuck, and yet the seagulls are flying around, over the ocean liners, and their wings are flapping freely. Very intelligent gravity. It's just absolutely an intelligent force how it can discriminate between heavy objects and light objects and allow light objects to totally ignore its forces, which supposedly is a weak force. By the way, Isaac Newton never, ever, ever, all of his works were based on the if factor, hypothetical. So he always gave, and in fact, Copernicus, who everybody is a follower of, if they believe that they live on a Santa globe, that is. I'm not, obviously, a follower. He said in his revolution of the celestial spheres in 1543, make note of that date, 1543. We'll get to that in a minute. He said, the hypothesis of the movement of the earth, I can't even read my own writing here. The hypothesis of the movement of the earth is only one in which is useful to explain phenomena, but should not be considered as absolute truth. So why are we dealing with half-truths? Why are we bothering with half-truths? He himself said the hypothesis of a moving earth should not be considered as absolute truth. And here you have half-cocked, half-witted, unintelligent individuals. The globe, gravity, and they're marching forward destructively, harmful to themselves, harmful to others, and harmful to their creator, believing in such buffoonery and nonsense.
People who are globe believers, just like I was before, and just like you were before, I find them just to be normal people because we just didn't know, and we were just going through life that way. But once you've been told and shown the evidence, you have to look at the evidence seriously. You cannot, I mean, of course you can, but you should not throw that wall up and, put your fingers in your ears and, say the things that people do say, the angry things, the type of statements that just try to refute what we're saying. I've had people say to me, well, flat earth, it's flat earth theory. It's just a theory. Well, most of the tenets of the ball earth model are, like you're saying, theoretical.
Hypothetical, theoretical. It's all buffoonery. What I'm going to eventually, I don't want to discuss the true nature of these evil teachings that have been imposed on us right yet, but what I will do toward the end of this interview is show you how it's all demonic. And when I use the word demonic, I'm not referring to it the same way as I used to when I was a Jehovah's Witness. You know, Satan and his hordes of demons wreaking havoc on this planet. Not necessarily. I'm going to explain what demonic means, but rest assured that gravity, globe, and meat eating, the three most evil, preposterous, insane teachings that man have gone after with all their hearts, is pure demonism and demon worship. And I will get to that in a minute. First of all, let me finish my points here to debunk the globe in, you know, short little sentences and evidences. But the date of 1543, the Jesuits, do you know when the Jesuits were founded there, Patricia?
No, I actually do not know.
5 years earlier.
Well,
1538.
that says a lot. Wow.
It says a lot. It does say a lot. Copernicus was a Jesuit. Look into the Jesuit history, and you will find they own all the telescopes. They own NASA. They own every information agency. They are in cahoots with the Rothschilds, who are Khazarian Hyksos, rather evil entities. This family, the Rothschilds, pretending to be Jews and destroying and perverting the good name of the Jew and the Hebrew and
the
the
red
Christian.
shield that you see when you
Rothschild.
Yes, when you donate to you know, the Red Cross or do some kind of walk to earn money to help stop cancer, it's all a scam. All of these things are connected. Yeah,
for sure. You're only putting more money into their coffers. I mean, you're only buying more gold taps for their royal palaces all over the globe, and more ivory and more marble for their coffers. It's not going to the poor, because obviously the poor are still there and growing by the day. So 5 years after Ignatius Loyola, the criminal, founded this criminal organization, the Jesuits, of course, promote this globe. And why? Well, because 50 or so years prior to this was the age of exploration. The Americas were discovered, and intelligent people knew that the Earth was a flat plane, and they knew this, not believed it. There was no theory involved, and they didn't you know, they didn't entertain ideas of falling off the edge of the globe. This was only the ignorant portion of mankind. The intelligent ones knew that the creation was perfect, and they knew. And the fact that sailors were finding these other lands, and the age of discovery was showing them that we do live on a flat plane, they had to work very, very quickly. They had to work very, very quickly. If they were going to control the world, you have to create a cosmology which is erroneous. Once you create a cosmology, you control all those that belong to that cosmos, that order of things. And so they know that if they shift people from a flat plane where you can do this and you can point to every single animal and human being that lives right now, Patricia, I'm pointing to you. If I do that with my hand 360 degrees, I will point to every single living being on this planet, because we are all on a horizontal plane. And they know that if they can pervert our perspective, all of our other perspectives are distorted. And that's what they have done. Everything else hinges on this globe and gravity. And so all of our other perceptions are distorted. And look around. People are killing each other for their theories and their ideas of what is right and what is wrong. And in the main, they, with all their hearts, they embrace these false teachings and defend them as though they were true. And they haven't done any research themselves and haven't considered any of the evidence totally against this ridiculous concept of living on a globe. Here's another way to debunk it so childishly. I'm ashamed that I have to actually bring up these points, because it's like,
I'm ashamed that I believed in it, but I just did.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is why I decided that I would destroy and deflate the globe with a vengeance, being the probably the chief syncretist alive today on the planet, because I don't know anyone else that's doing the sine wave and syncretism as I do, and so I have a big responsibility to myself. And I realized with those 6 weeks on the inside that I have a certain amount of responsibility to the intelligent people, and to realign their perspectives so that we can give glory to the Creator and not glory to men and demons who basically control this planet. Demons are well, I'll get it out of the way now. Demons are all entities that are service to self, selfish, psychopathic, evil-hearted, unempathetic, power-grabbing, megalomaniac idiots. George Bush, Malcolm Turdball. Oh, hang on, our Prime Minister's not called a Turdball, Turnbull. Sorry about that, Freudian slip. The likes of George Bush, these are demons. People must understand it's time we refrain from pointing to the Jesuits and the Jews and the Bilderbergers and the trilateralists and the Commission on Foreign Relations and blah, 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 the Knights of Malta. They are all gangs and clubs of evil, mostly pedophiles, you'll find, evil demons, service to self, parasitic, psychopathic morons. And we put them on we put Barack Obama on soapboxes. We elect them. We do harm to ourselves by letting these demons with their demon worship. No wonder Barack Obama hasn't got time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. They have not got time at all, because the moment they give them time, they will be debunked, and so will all their other demonic lies will fall with them. For instance, NASA's space program. What a crock. I'm going to get to that in a minute.
So much to talk about. Hopefully we'll be able to remember.
I've got about 20 10-hour shows if you've got the time, Patricia.
I do.
Yeah, well, bring it on, please. The humanity needs it, especially the intelligent portion who will be saved. As for the unintelligent ones, doesn't matter. Well, let's get the space program. Let's debunk that one, shall we? What happens? How do they propel themselves out in space with these? See, they've already shot themselves in the foot by showing the vessels that they go to space with. Remember, in 1969, we went with these jet-propelled capsules, rockets.
Yeah. I don't know what to call them. Things in a studio, tin cans.
Yeah, NASA and Walt Disney, they should join forces really and make cartoons and make people happy instead of steal their money. If you get a speedboat, right? You get a speedboat and it goes nicely in water because the propeller actually can propel itself against the molecules of H2O. So you take that speedboat out of the water and you turn that propeller on, and what happens as that propeller is spinning against the air? How far do you get?
You go nowhere fast.
You go nowhere. Because the molecules are not dense enough for those propellers. And so a jet engine, yes, okay, you can hop in a jumbo jet and you can, those jet engines made by Rolls-Royce and whoever else, beautiful jet engines, they can propel themselves because they propel themselves they draw in molecules of air, and that would be what? Well, that'd be 78% nitrogen, 20% oxygen. That's what they're drawing into their jet engines. They compress that, then they burn that, and then just shoot it out of a little nozzle, a little jet to the rear of the plane. And there's so much force there that they can actually propel that heavy vessel into the air. Now, once you get out of the Earth's atmosphere, what are you going to propel yourself in that void, in that, they call it... don't they call it a vacuum? There's no air particles.
Right. But how do we know? I've always wondered, how do we know there's a vacuum of space? I mean, what testing
There
has she
is
done
no
to
vacuum.
well, I know that, but how do they? I mean, scientists have discovered, I guess it could go into that category.
Lies
We've
on
just
lies.
been told, right?
Yeah, because they make layers and layers of stupidity for people to you go buy their scientific magazines so they can be deluded, misled, and parasited on.
They
That's
should have
all.
told us that at a certain height that none of us civilians can get to, it's all water up there. Then it
It's
would have
all.
been easy. Well, yes, but they should have told us that, because if they did, then it would have been easier to trick us, because they would have been able to propel something in water. They would have been able to do spacewalks, which they do in underwater pools. They really would have been able to fool us then. But they couldn't tell us that because they would be revealing a truth.
They've put their name in the book of fools for all of eternity. These people, rather than putting their names in the book of life, they've put their names deliberately and willfully for, I don't know, maybe cash in the back pocket. I don't know what they get out of it. Either they're mind controlled or whatever, but their names shall be ridiculed for it. Neil Armstrong will be the biggest buffoon, liar, demon worshipper in history. They'll go down as idiots, sheer idiots, you know, just in the next few months that are coming because of the rapid rate of exposure of this Santa globe. Here's another one. All these half-cocked, half-witted followers of NASA and all of their lies. Solar eclipses. You see, they say, oh, yes, because the Earth gets in between the moon and the sun in a syzygy relationship, which means they're all in a line. Well, this is impossible because we have countless photographs of both the sun and the moon being above the Earth during solar eclipses. So that's just debunked by intelligence. Another thing, how can the moon possibly, because the moon is a body which does not retrograde, as does the sun. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Mercury, the 5 wandering luminous bodies called stars, which we erroneously call planets. Well, they are planets, they're planes also, I'll get to that. Those 5 wanderers, they retrograde, which means they go like this, stop, become stationary, and then retrograde, then they become stationary again. So they retrograde through a zodiacal sign, for instance, okay? Then they become stationary again, then they become, they go swift. So there's 4 motions of the planets: retrograde, stationary, swift, and direct. Those planets are always, those 5 wanderers are always doing that. The sun and the moon, they only know one motion: direct. So how can the moon, that is going supposedly anti-clockwise around the sun, as is the Earth, supposedly, why does it all of a sudden, only for eclipses, why does it go, whoops, I'm just going to do a little bit of a retrograde here, zip back, cause the eclipse of the sun, and then say, there you go, all you intelligent humans down there, and then zip forward again, just for this little special eclipse. Why does the moon retrograde for the eclipse? Of course, it does not retrograde. And of course, it does not cause the solar eclipses.
What do you think is the cause of them? What's your theory on that?
Rahu and Ketu.
Okay, I figured you'd say that.
They are 2 planets which we cannot see with our eyes. There are many, many planets in our solar cell/system that are not fully developed, that are vortexes that exist in our solar system. And 2 of them are Ketu and Rahu, and they are the only cause of eclipses, solar or lunar, ever in existence. No such thing as this syzygy relationship that is suggested by the, I don't know what to call them, the pseudoscientists. Let's call them that. I don't want to be mean because I enjoy being mean at stupidity, and I'll have to refrain just to keep your show on a dignified level. Here's another one. Okay, so And this one's just this one's just only for intelligent people. I'm sorry for all the unintelligent ones that happen to chance upon this podcast. You'll have to leave, as you have left your intelligence and vacated your sanity and brain. Let's debunk this globe, shall we? So we've got the sun here, okay, heliocentric. And here we have the Earth over here, 93 million, 93 million miles away from the sun. Let's have a laugh at that. And supposedly, see this tilt of 23.5 degrees. This tilt is what supposedly causes the seasons. So here in Australia, we're having summer here because the tilt is closer to the sun, which is 93 million miles away. And so this differential here, so supposedly, well, not supposedly, but, well, yeah, I will go back to supposedly, excuse me. The Earth's diameter is about 12,000 miles, right?
Yes.
So this tilt, would you say the differential would be about 1,000 miles? Let's be generous, 2,000 miles, okay? So here in Australia, so over here in England, that's winter and this is summer because the differential is about 2,000 miles, considering that we're 93 million miles away from the sun. What a bunch
just
of
that little bit makes a huge difference.
Oh yes, the globalists will insist. What a bunch of hocus pocus, bogus pseudo science, if ever there was. Now, over here is Polaris, isn't it? Of course, it has to be, because the North Pole is always pointing to Polaris. Well, it is. And so let's take a journey 180 degrees, 180 days, and let's orbit at 67,000 miles an hour. Oh my God. We have to go back to kindergarten now, Patricia. Bear with me. You want to go back to kindergarten with me?
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, kindergarten children. Now we're over here and, oh, good old Polaris has done 186 million miles. 93 plus 93 is 186 million miles, of course, yeah? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So we've now done 186 million miles, and good old Polaris has joined us over here. And of course, you look at all the other stars, of course, astronomers will tell you that constellations, let's pick a constellation of Aries, me being Aryan. Some of the stars are supposedly millions and millions of miles closer than some of the other stars in the same constellation. So let's say Sheraton in Aries, the head of the ram, is about, I don't know the exact figures, but let's say it's a couple of million light years closer to the Earth than Hamel, which is another chief star in Aries, right? Well, isn't it funny that we spin at 1,000, we rotate at 1,000 miles an hour and orbit at 67,000 miles an hour, and we don't see any relative change in the patterns of the constellations? They stay the same. That would be because they're only about 3,000 or 4,000 miles above our head.
Right, and they're not moving, so.
And we are not, absolutely not moving. But this is only for the intelligent ones. Back to kindergarten. So here we have Sol Invictus, the sun, Mr. Helios. And of course, all of this is moving at 550 million miles an hour as we are in the outer branch of the Milky Way galaxy, and it's spinning around at 550 million miles, whilst we are orbiting at 67,000 1,000 miles an hour. So I'll put that here.
Overwhelming numbers when you think about it. It sounds so random, but all of these numbers are, they've done the math. It all works with the system that they've created to fool us with. That's the sad part. We can't catch them out there.
Because they have to bamboozle the half-cocked, half-witted experts with equations that no one can understand and never will. These are absolutely service to self demonic teachings, which I will debunk if I have to on my own. And I don't care what scars and war scars that I incur. There we have 67. You see, I can't even register these figures in my mind because they're so preposterous and so ludicrous. Now, so what happens is Polaris is still over here, is still directly above the North Pole. Now, how does that possibly happen after you've traveled 186 million miles? Besides, on top of that, you have to factor in the 550 million miles in 1 hour that we have displaced ourselves from that point to this point. How can that possibly be? Now, here's another thing, Patricia. You'll love this one, because I love this one. If the Earth rotates 24 hours exactly every day, and here we are over here, I'm in Australia, and someone up here in Japan is facing the sun directly, yeah? Daylight. Definitely. This is daylight here. These guys over here, they are facing the night, yeah? So you're over in America over here. You're in the nighttime over here, okay? Now, so we're rotating 24 hours every day, and we do 180 of these as we go 180 degrees in our orbit. We come over to here. Now, here's Japan, and here's me, little old me, upside down, of course. I'm upside down in Australia. Now, I have journeyed 180 days, have I not? Now, over here, I'm facing the sun, it's daylight. Over here, I'm in the dark, but it's still 12 p.m. It's supposed to be midday, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. You can't. The way they've tricked us is that they talk about tropical day and sidereal day. See, supposedly a sidereal day is 23 hours and 56 minutes. Very clever, these criminals. They're very, very clever, because what that suggests then is that every rotation in relation to the stars, sidereal that is, every rotation we do actually lines the Earth up so that it's 1 degree let's call it retarded, and so that it will always face. So they argue that what'll happen is I'll be here in Australia, and Japan will be here, and we'll still be facing the sun, and it will still be 12 midday at the meridian here, and we'll still be facing the sun. Rest assured, when you do your calculations correctly, this is totally preposterous. And so if we at midday over here on this side of the sun in summer are facing the sun, well then at midday in winter, 180 degrees opposite, we should be facing the darkness. And there's no other way to look at it at all. Absolutely no other way to look at it at all. And so those are a couple of things. Let's see what else. All right, well, here's one more. I'll just do one more because I want to do me other things that I've prepared for you.
And I also want to mention, since you were talking about sidereal and tropical and astrology, you're more interested in tropical astrology, and maybe just a little brief bit on that after you're here where you're going.
Oh, absolutely. I do want to show how all my past work, syncretism, is improved by this true model.
It seems
You
like
see?
the true flat model works, everything works on it. Obviously, we've been living on it all of our lives, but some things are even make more sense. It's that shows how true it is. It's simple and easy and natural, as opposed to all of this math that's making me have a headache.
It is, because you'll be forever following equations that don't work. You'll forever be following theories, pseudoscience, rather than transcendental science, which is holy science, which is what I teach. Now, the problem is, in the past, I've been mixing transcendent holy science with pseudoscience. Now, this is how I'm going to correct it, and very easily. And for the intelligent ones, I don't even have to correct it because they already know. How do I know? Because they've written to me saying, you need not do any more presentations because I understand it better already by changing our perspective in your head. Whereas for less intelligent ones, I will do this because I'm serving everyone. Now, I don't do this, for self-service. All my
I wonder,
presentation.
is it less intelligent, or is it, I can't say less aware. For people who are completely unaware, of course, they're going to believe in the globe. But people that you tell about, that you tell this to, is it a lack of intelligence that doesn't allow them to understand these concepts, simple concepts? Or is it something
No,
else holding
no,
them back? Something
it is
darker? Is
It
it?
is something
Okay.
darker.
Mm.
Isaac Newton once said 400 years ago, and I do respect Isaac Newton for his alchemical stuff, not for his gravity at all. He was totally deceived. He said once, he said, it is not the intelligence of humanity that cannot accept the Creator and all of his laws. It is the heart. The heart is corrupted. It's an unevolved heart. But I would be meaner if I attacked the unintelligent ones by saying they've got a bad heart. But it's
Yeah.
their heart.
Heartless
It's a
people does sound worse than unintelligent, but
yeah. So I'm actually being nice by being not nice.
right.
Anyway, here's one, and this should just nail it. If the gyroscope and the eclipse demonstration that I've done, the retrograding of the moon, and all of this rubbish buffoonery. I mean, here we have, let's say we're living on this sphere, okay, and we have the equator here. Now, North America goes like this, and then there's Central America, and Ecuador's here, and then great artistic work, isn't it? Looks just
Not
like
your strong suit.
No, it's not. All right, so here we're rotating at slightly over 1,000 miles an hour. Okay, the Earth will be rotating at 1,000 miles an hour here, and it slows down and rotates a lot slower. I'm not sure, but I think it's only a few hundred miles of rotation around here in the Arctic Circle. Okay, but here it's definitely way higher than the speed of sound, which is 754 miles an hour. Okay, so the speed of sound is probably 58 or something. I don't know. I have to be very, very careful, because if I do one slip up, I get 100 emails from people.
Actually, during a conversation, I made an okay sign when I won't even do it now, but I made that sign with my hand when I was trying to make a point.
666. Oh, now I'm a Freemason. There's my 666.
Exactly.
Guys.
Yep.
Oh
so
boy.
They'll freeze that, and you'll be everywhere with Santos Bonacci, a Satanist or a Freemason or whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Okay, so if we're living on they call these continental plates, don't they? They're supposed to be rifting. You see, Africa's over here, and you can see that they reckon that these were stuck together once in Pangea,
Right.
our original, yeah. So supposedly, but they're spreading apart, as they say. why do these continents that are drifting on the oceans, on the waters, why do they not all propagate here on the equator? They should all be here. All continents should be squashed up in here, where all of the centrifugal thrust of the so-called ball is situated. And yet, look at this. What are they doing down here? What's Australia doing down here? Because of the centrifugal thrust here, Australia, which is floating according to them, that should go straight down to the equator. They should all be propagating on the equator, and yet they're not. Why? Because we're not moving.
Done and dusted. Thank you, folks. We'll be here all week.
Now let's move up
Tip
from
your waiter.
kindergarten. Let's go to primary, shall we?
All right, let's do it.
For all the kids that are tuning in, I know the intelligent ones are having a laugh because, well, they'd have to be. Otherwise, you'd be crying. It's so simple to debunk the Santa Globe. Because the Santa Globe ain't coming to town. And I'm not a very good singer.
Singing and art. Don't go there.
Yeah. Okay, share screen time?
Yes, please.
Here we go. Oh, no.
You're going to have to do art instead?
Oh, yeah. No, I can do it. Okay.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yes, I won't talk. Go ahead. Whenever you talk, it will show on the screen.
All righty. All right. Let's get out of that. Let's go to the start. Now, I have actually presented a lot of the slides from this on the Eilish de Avalon show I did, and so I'm going to touch on a few of those. But I've got a few extra slides, and they should really be easy to go through all of them today.
All right. Right now it's not showing. It's just you showing, no slides.
Oh, gee.
But it did show a slide for just a moment, though. It was there. You know, Google Hangouts have a mind of their own. They really do.
How's that? Is it still there?
Yes.
Woo! Hot diggity. All righty. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Does that look like a rooster there? The rooster's standing on Australia with its head. South America is the head pointing to the right.
Well, if you have a really good imagination, yes.
Oh yeah, not the first time, but if you give it time, you will see that it looks like a rooster. I'm just pointing that out. I'm not suggesting anything here at all. Of course, I'm going to get another 100,000 emails saying, "Oh, you think there's a rooster like there's a rabbit on the moon?" Well, you know, I mean,
I see it now. I had to stare at it for a while. Got it.
Yeah. Well, here's the beak. Here's the beak. The point of Chile here, just about touching Antarctica, and here are the feet of the rooster standing on Australia. Just a curious thing. That's all. Nothing. Please don't write to me saying I believe in roosters now. I don't worship roosters. So here we go, and there's the rooster again. This one, it looks a lot more like a rooster here actually, but this is how the flat disk is, and there's the sun and the moon, and this is they rotate clockwise around a central mountain. We're going to see images of that in a minute.
You've only got the first slide clicked. You'll have to click on the second slide. I think that's what you're referring to.
Oh, I have. Yes, I've moved on to the second slide. You don't see it?
No, you'd need to maybe click it. That's kind of how it looks. Yes. Go right ahead on number 2. You got it now.
All right. Have you got... Okay. So there it is there. That's the flat plane. And there's the sun and the moon. And these are all ancient maps. So the ancients concur with us. They support us. They do not have any other kind of cosmology. So we are in harmony and in sync with all the ages previous to us, whereas the globalists are in harmony with Jesuits. So they are Jesuit supporters. We are antiquity supporters. Simple. Can you see that one?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, I'm going backwards. All right.
Well, you're on number 2 now, so when you want to move to number 3, go right ahead. You have to probably click on it as well.
I don't like this way of doing it because it's not.
Yeah, now you're on number 4. I know it's
All
annoying.
right. Is that big enough like that? Like for you to see that?
Bigger might be better.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Just bear with me, sister. This is going to be pretty hard. Is that
fine.
bigger? Okay. So
Now
can you
we've
see?
got him. No, now we've just got you.
Oh, dang.
I don't mean just got you. That's fine.
Yeah.
Go back to the original one that you had. That's fine. Even if it's small, we're going to get the idea.
Alrighty. I'll have to. I don't think Google Hangouts is supporting flat earthers. They don't like us. I know they don't because they've got something called Google Earth, which is a crock.
True.
So they are totally not supporting us. Okay. Alrighty. Here I am. You can see that, can't you?
No, I can only see you still.
This saddens me.
Yeah.
I'll fix it.
We can
Google
fix it,
Hangout.
or we can just continue talking. Depends on how you can work it out.
Alrighty. I'm just going to use the little images. You can see that now, can't you?
Yes, perfectly.
No.
Yeah.
And you're on image number 5, I think.
Yep. There's the Gleason map. Flat as
Correct.
a pancake.
Correct.
Here we have the ancient cosmology and the spheres surrounding the flat disk of the Earth. Now, I hope you can see this one.
Yes,
Is that
perfectly
visible?
fine. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
great.
But there is feedback.
Well, I'm gonna-
now.
There is feedback now.
Do you have earphones in, or
Have
that one
earphones
came
in,
out?
That one
or-
came out, or
Not at all. No, I haven't changed anything.
I think Google heard
I
you
think
say
Google heard you
something.
say something.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely get offended, won't they? This image I have here shows the flat Earth with all the concentric spheres surrounding it. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if you can see my cursor, you can see below the Earth there are other planes. There are 7 more Earths or planets. And you can see that from this graphic here. Okay. Above the Earth is a well, really, this graphic is quite erroneous. The starry heavens are above the ethereal. Are above the luminary heavens, and the luminary heavens are where all the planets and the sun and the moon are. 7 of them. So this starry dome here is in the wrong place. This starry heaven is above the luminous heaven, and the luminous heaven is above 3 other heavens. We have the airy heaven where the birds fly. We have the cloudy heavens where basically all the clouds and that are. And then we have the ethereal heavens where a lot of what they call, this is where scientists call all this atmosphere, ionosphere, thermosphere, stratosphere. In ancient times, they were called heavens. And so this particular sphere here is erroneous. It should be, the starry heaven is above the 7 heavens of the luminaries, okay?
Got it.
And this Kabbalistic model is more correct. Can you see this one?
Yes, with Genesis
Yes,
1:14 in it.
1:14 in it.
Oh, great. I know how to work this now, Patricia. What I do is I'm
But
supposed
we
to...
still have echo
have,
coming from your side.
Inside.
Okay, I'll grab my headphones, see if that fixes it. Just bear
Yes,
with me
and
one tick.
it just started too.
Mm.
I don't even want to talk.
I don't
'cause
even want to
it's
talk because it's
very crazy to hear
very
myself.
crazy to hear myself.
Yep.
But David Weiss
David Weiss
messaged and said,
said,
if you click on your small
"Click on
icon,
your small
you
icon,
remain the
you
presenter,
remain the presenter,
even if I talk.
even if I talk."
Oh, okay. The small
Thank you,
icon.
David.
Which one's that?
David.
I think that's a picture of you where it says Santos at the very bottom right.
Bottom right.
Oh, okay. Me. So I've got to put me. All right. So now I'm seeing me instead of you. All right. And I'm the presenter.
Right. Now we need to fix the
Now we
echo.
need to fix the echo.
Then we'll
Yeah,
fix the
dang.
Then we'll
world.
fix the world.
Yeah. All right. I've plugged in my headphones.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Oh, I still hear
I
myself.
still hear myself.
So something happens
Something
while we've been
happens
working
while
with
we've been
these
working with these
images.
images.
Dang. That really saddens me. Because I do have some great stuff to share there, and my headphones are not even working.
Okay, that's probably the reason.
Probably the reason.
Here's what
All
we'll
right,
do.
I'll have to leave it.
Do.
No,
We'll just
no,
have
you
to
go
cope
through
with
the presentation and you show all of those things. I'll say nothing,
I'll say nothing.
Yep.
and we'll be
Okay.
fine.
And we'll be fine.
Done.
All right, go ahead.
So this
Go
Kabbalistic,
ahead.
yep, this Kabbalistic model is more correct. In the center here, you see the Earth. And the Earth is the mid-garden, the middle garden. Below it are 7 more planets populated with other races. And what we're going to find is that this is where your extraterrestrials are coming from. This is where people are going when they think they're going to Mars, because these bodies cannot go to Mars currently as we are. Mars is a luminous body. And so all these people who say there are bases on Mars and all of this, it's a lie. They've been lied to. They are subterranean terrestrial planets because Mars is not terrestrial. It is not solid. It has a less density than the Earth, and it is a sphere. Those stars are intelligent angelic archons. They are cosmocrators. They are beings. They are intelligent entities who are looking after us, who love us. The stars of the zodiac, the stars of the heaven, the planets, they are demigods. The sun is Michael, the archangel. Jupiter is Ariel, the beneficent one. Saturn is Cassiel. You will learn about this if you study your Jewish Kabbalah and esoteric mysticism. You will know the structure of the heavens. You will know the structure of the cosmos, and this is it. And there you see the concentric rings going outward from the Earth. You see the moon first. She is the first keeper of the first portal. She is a luminous body. Astronauts cannot go there. Spaceships cannot land on there. And yet it is populated with what's called lunar people. The Earth is populated with lunar people. They do not have bodies like ours, but some of them have come from the Earth. They have ascended to that sphere. Above the sphere of the moon is Mercury, then Venus, then the sun in the middle. The sun is the middle of the octave. This is a diatonic octave, guys, above our heads. Then there's Mars after the sun, then Jupiter, then Saturn, and this is this is what's called the luminary heaven. They are luminaries, stars, not planets.
And what
Above
about
Saturn
Pluto?
is
What about Pluto?
Good. We're coming to that. Pluto is where this rose, is, the red rose, which is the lotus of Krishna. So 3 more rings, sister. This ring here now, this is where the firmament is, guys. This is the starry heaven. This is called the starry heaven. It is above the luminous heaven. So it is the 5th heaven. There are 7 heavens. 7 heavens. And
That's
in
where
this
that expression
heaven,
people say. They say, I'm in 7th heaven.
Heaven.
oh yeah, and 9th heaven.
Hmm.
For sure. It's all here. It's all here. This is our destiny. We are in this cocoon, and we are getting out of this cocoon through the process of ascension and Krishna consciousness. Call it what you will. Christ consciousness. For all the good Christians that are listening, all the followers of Jesus, that's fine. Jesus is a great God person. No problem there. I have no problem. I just do not agree that Jesus was a historical figure. Jesus was historical only in the transcendental sense. My work shows this. My work covers this. I have no qualms with Christians who love Jesus as a person, because I do believe that Jesus, Krishna, these are persons, because I am a person. I am an individual, and individuality cannot come from not individuality. There must be a primeval cause, root cause of all causes, that is personal. And so, you know, again, people misunderstand my work. Oh, he doesn't believe in Jesus. Well, I've never said I don't believe in Jesus. Please do not misunderstand syncretism, because you will only harm yourself. Syncretism is the only transcendental theology of the universe. So this is the starry heaven, and Uranus, the father of Kronos, who he castrated, owns this sphere. And this is the beginning of the invisible spheres. We cannot see these spheres. And so all the stars are in this sphere. This is why there is no parallax and no apparent movement between the stars of the heaven, because they are all fixed in this sphere. They are lights. They are the sons of God in the book of Job, and they applauded at God's creation when God said, "Let there be light." When God said, "Let man be created." These are the stars that have applauded. These are the stars that are rooting for us. They are backing us. They are elevating and lifting and ascending our souls to reach that sphere, so that we can be released from temporal conditioned existence, and that we can escape this cocoon, this cell, and we can go to unconditioned everlasting existence with the Lord. Because you see, in John 1:1 it says, "And the Word was God, and the Word was with God." So we will never be God. People say, "Oh, I'm God. I'm all there was and all that is and all that ever will be." This is not absolutely true. This is only true apparently or relatively, because we are God in quality but not in quantity. And so we will be God, and we will be with God for eternity, because we are eternal. And so that's what the scripture means, that Jesus, the Son of God, and by the way, God in this particular image is the firmament, the dome, because that is Dominus, the Lord. And the Son, S-U-N, is the Sun, S-O-N, the sun in the sky. Now, see, this is where less learned people, less studied people will stumble, and they will curse me as a blasphemer and say, "Oh, you just said the Son is Jesus." Well, it is, because it is these archetypes, Krishna, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, or in our Western school, Jehovah, Jesus, that actually produce this universe that we live in. And they do it through the sun, because the sun is the ruler of our universe, whereas the earth is the center of our universe. It is geocentric, always has been, always will be. And so above the starry heaven there, you see the ninth sphere, that's the crystalline heaven. That's the crystalline sphere of St. John, who said, "I saw a crystalline sea before the throne of God." And then above that is the primum mobile, the 10th sphere, which opens up to the Empyrean heaven. Empyrean, pir is hiding inside that word, and that means fire, pure. It is the land of the pure ones. And this is Krishna Loka, where there are many, many spiritual planets where we live in everlasting, unconditioned bliss, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha, with God, with the Creator, and also being units of God ourselves. And so this is the Western system, and I've just shown how that works in with the Eastern system. Can you see this new slide?
No, we're still on the old one.
We're still on the old one.
Okay, I'll fix that now, won't I?
There we go.
Because
There we go.
Yeah, because I just got clever and I know how to work it out. This is the Babylonian. You see the plane in the middle. So the plane in the middle is the mid-plane, the mid-guard, the middle garden. Earth. Earth is an anagram of heart, which is an anagram of ether. And in the Kabbalistic system, Kether is ether, and opposite Kether is Malkuth. Malkuth is the kingdom in which we live, where we are standing on a plane. And you see there is a pyramid there with 7 levels. That is the 7 luminous, the heavens of the 7 luminous bodies. And below is a pyramid upside down with 7 planes or planets where subterranean people, extraterrestrials live. And all of this is floating in waters. Next slide. Here we have it, the ancient Hebrew conception of the universe. This is in the Bible, folks. This is why it makes me cringe when people want to defend the satanic Jesuit globe model, which is pure buffoonery and blasphemy against the heavens and blasphemy against your own individual sainthood, to even utter this filthy word of globe. It is perverse. And there you have God, the creator, and the heaven of the heavens, which is the empyrean at the top. Then you have more heavens below and the waters above the firmament. You see there waters. Probably you can't see it but my arrow is pointing to the waters. And then, of course, inside this dome, Dominus of the Lord, you have the sun and the moon, which are basically symbols of Krishna and his consort Radharani. Radharani will be really the moon, and the moon in the west is Selene, Magdalene, Helene, Helen of Troy, anything that ends with enne, inne, inni, Radharani, Selene, that's all the moon. Okay, and Paris is the sun, and so Troy, Paris goes to save Helen. It's the sun and the moon. All stories go back to the sun and the moon. All archetypes go back to the sun and the moon. Everything. Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I'm not saying that Jesus is the sun and Mary Magdalene is the moon. They are the chief symbols in the heavens who represent those God persons, those God archetypes. They are not them. Now, very interesting here, you'll see Rahab is mentioned. Now, Rahab is mentioned extensively in the Hebrew scriptures, and this is where Rahab and Sheol and the great deep sea and the abyss are, according to the Hebrew scriptures. Okay, I won't linger on all of these slides. We can elaborate later if you have any questions. Here are some of the scriptures that clearly point to a moving sun above a flat plane. I'm not going to read them because there they are, and the listeners can pause on them and do their own homework. Intelligence shall prevail. Here we have the flat earth against with the analema. This little red figure 8 is the analema. We're going to get into that because the analema tells all. The analema is the secret of all secrets for understanding the flat earth. And here it is again, the analema. You'll see that it is not a perfect figure 8, and we're going to see why in a minute. But the top of it touches the inner circle of the Tropic of Cancer, and the outer part touches on the Tropic of Capricorn. This is the sine wave that I use, the analema, to present all of my syncretic information in all of my presentations. This is the one and the same sine wave. Here again we have the analema, which proves the earth is flat. Again, intelligence will prevail once you study this. And you can go to my Facebook notes. I have a note that I have written. And if you read that, you will easily be able to understand how the analema teaches the flat earth. It does not work with a globe. It's preposterous. It cannot work.
There's a link to your Facebook in the description box of this video, and many other links. To Santos.
Yep, thank you. And here it is. Let's have a look at it a little bit here. There's the analema. These graphics were done for me by a flat earther in one of the chat groups I'm in, who's looking after me with graphics. That's Graham. Thank you, Graham, in the UK. He's making such beautiful, beautiful graphics, which you will see. That's how the analema works. You can see that the figure 8 is not perfect. Obviously, the top half is narrower because the sun is traveling slower at the Tropic of Cancer, and it speeds and makes larger circles at the Tropic of Capricorn. And the analema shows this clearly. Clearly. There's no mistake. The analema proves that we live on a flat earth. And here it is here. As you will see, if we start, for instance, on the 21st of December at the bottom here, Patricia, where we were about 2 weeks ago at the solstice, and what happens is we the width of the analema is 32 degrees at the bottom, and at the top it's 16 degrees, half. So you can see here that it travels far greater distances at a far greater speed toward the Tropic of Capricorn here at December 21st. And as it climbs up a ramp. We're going to see that in a minute. And it approaches the equinox here on March the 21st. Now it is in the middle, and this is a sacred day. All the tropical points are sacred. And then what it does is it travels a little bit further, 15 degrees, and it reaches the 15th of April. This day is the birthday of Sri Rama. Rama is another name for Krishna. Krishna is another name for Christ. The Lamb, the Rama, the Ram of God. Interesting that the 15th of April, the birthday of Sri Rama, is at the middle of the figure 8. This is so interesting that it should just stupefy your mind for the rest of your life. Then on the way down, on the 29th of August, you can see the 29th of August, that's when the sun again crosses over in the middle of the figure 8. That day there is the beheading of St. John the Baptist. Now, already the well-versed ones in this science, they will understand that that's the head of the top of the analema that has been beheaded, because as the sun goes from the Tropic of Cancer down the ramp to the Tropic of Capricorn, it gets beheaded on the 29th of August in Virgo, the Virgin, because you see Herod, he looks over to his virgin who dances for him, and he says, I will give you half of my kingdom. You can make any wish because you danced so well, you beautiful virgin. And the virgin says, I want the head of St. John the Baptist on a platter. And the grieved Herod complied with her wish. Well, that happens on the 29th of August in Virgo. And opposite on the 15th of April is Aries, the Lamb of God, her little virgin lamb. And by the way, what people, or unversed people will be probably laughing at this and thinking, oh yeah, you just made all this up. Well, this will nail it. On the 21st of June is the solstice. Opposite is the 21st of December, yeah? The winter solstice.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we know that 3 days after December 21st is the birthday of Jesus, supposedly. Okay, let's just humor me here and let's just go with it, because a lot of Christians are going to say, oh, we don't know when Jesus was born. He was born in when the shepherds were outdoors and in the stables in the manger, and that was not in winter. It had to be in. Of course, as a Jehovah's Witness, I used to vomit forth such stupidities also. So, but now I'm able to correct all of this nonsense.
I've heard
9/11
was when Jesus was born.
Yeah, I know. Well, the fact is, if we understand the tropical points, we'll understand that Jesus the Son is always born on all the tropical points. He's born in Easter, he's born in Christmas, he's born in Tishri, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, he's born in Ramadan at the Tropic of Cancer, according to the Islamists. They don't know this, of course, because they have lost this science. But here we go. 4 days after the 21st of December is the 25th of December, which is the birthday of Jesus. Opposite the other solstice, June the 21st, 4 days after that, we have June the 24th, and that is the birthday of St. John, his 6-month older cousin. Well, isn't it funny that the tropics, the solstices are the birthday of Jesus and St. John, and at the middle of the figure 8 there, we have the birthday of Jesus, Sri Rama, the Lamb of God, and the beheading of St. John? I think I'll just leave it there because you'll learn about this in my note in Facebook about the analema. I'll just leave it there because I've already satisfied the intelligent ones. As for the rest, well, they'll be the rest, won't they? As the scripture says, do not follow the crowd. Do not follow the crowd in their false teachings. And so they are the ones that follow the crowd, of course. Now here we have a profile view of what the sun is doing. You see this vortex? At the top is June the 21st, the Tropic of Cancer, and then the sun must go down a ramp-like shape. It's like a tent. This is the tabernacle of the sun in Psalms 19:4, where the Lord says, I have made a tabernacle for the sun, and he shall not, he shall dwell in this tent, and he shall not be able to, I have firmly established his limits and where he shall go like a bridegroom in his chamber. See, the sun is in a chamber. And so what is happening here is that the sun goes down, travels down to, it's actually much, much closer to the earth at the Tropic of Cancer. Right now, the sun is much closer to the earth than at the Tropic of Cancer. Now, I believe that at the equator, the sun is 3,300 miles above our heads, hence the Freemasonic degrees of 32 and 33, because at the equator, that's the median average distance of the sun above our heads. But I do believe that at the Tropic of Capricorn, the sun will be about, maybe around about 1,500 miles above our head. Whereas at the Tropic of Cancer, it is very, very high, probably about 5,000 or 4,500 miles above our head. And this explains why people in Norway and Alaska see a midnight sun so clearly, because the sun is higher up. Whereas at the Tropic of Cancer in Antarctica, this phenomena is not so visible. It's different. It's not as clear to see a midnight sun for so long in the skies. Okay, I'll press on because I've got a lot of stuff here to go through. This is a funny one. I thought I do have a sense of humor in between all my angry bits. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on 4 corners of the earth. Revelation 7. Excuse me, the angels are yelling out, at which corners shall we stand on there, dear Lord? Please help us. It's a globe, isn't it? Yeah, because obviously these are the 4 corners. This is another ancient map showing where the angels are. Because inside the square of the circle, the cube, is a circular disc. And we're going to see that soon as we proceed through these slides. Here is another one, again showing there the equator only. It's not showing the, oh yeah, it was showing the tropics, but they're very faint. But this line here in the middle, and can you see the Celtic cross here, folks? Yeah. This is why they say Jerusalem is the you know how they have Greenwich for the GMT meridian? Well,
Yes.
it used to be Jerusalem, yeah? And this is because Jerusalem, it does line up with the east. When you say east, people get confused. Where is the east on a ball and where is the east on a sphere, on a flat disc? Well, there is a true east. There is a true GMT or meridian where everything begins. And I guess only research will discover where that is. If it's aligned with Jerusalem somehow, well, I think it is. And we have to discover this. But I guess we've lost this knowledge due to the Western, the West being so brutal in attacking this ancient, sacred, beautiful science. Now, how are we going for time, sister? I have to speed up, don't I?
Well, I've set the show to go for about an hour, excuse me, 45.
45.
Yeah, because we've got 20 more minutes to the end of 2 hours, but I can go 3 hours easy.
Yeah, I've set it up for 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. So.
All right.
I hate talking now because while we're doing the slideshow, there's this horrible echo. So you continue.
Yeah, look, that's very unfortunate, really.
It might be your headphones. I'm thinking that's it.
Is there still echo from me?
You sound great.
Oh, okay, good. I'll
I
proceed.
sound like there's two of me. So you continue.
All righty. Now, this is how the Eastern system depicts the center North Pole. This is Mount Sumeru. Please, I urge everyone, pay attention to this word Sumeru. In the East, in the West, in the Hebrew system, this is Mount Moriah, where Abraham sacrificed Isaac, or intended to. This is Mount Meru. This is Mount Sinai. This is Mount Zion. This is where magnetic mountain in the center, which is gyroscopically holding the sun in its course. This is where it all is, guys. And the top, Jehovah or Brahma, that's where the Lord of this particular universe is dwelling. Okay, I know I've lost a lot of people who don't believe in the sacred ancient mythologies, but that's too bad, because this is the truth. And here we have Hollywood in their movies depicting it. There's this mountain. There's always a mountain. I'll have to do this one by one. There's the mountain. Hollywood is rubbing it in our noses. There's the mountain. It's in the center of what we call where the North Pole is. And it's the color of it is lapis blue. You cannot see it. It blends with the sky. This is why a lot of people are in disbelief. They've probably flown near it, but have not been able to see it, because it is blue, lapis blue mountain. And they're showing it here. They're showing it pretty clearly, are they not? There's Pink Floyd showing this central, beautiful mountain pillar in the middle of the earth, in the Midgard. Here it is in another system. We see Mount Moriah in the middle of the world, and then there's the Ouroboros. Unfortunately, the resolution on this graphic is not very good, but this is the head of the serpent here, and you see layers of planets below the earth. Now, this one should be very interesting. The spinal column in the east is called Meru Danda. Now, Danda, that's an anagram for Adam, and I've done a lot of work on atom and Adam, and showing how we have an atomic language, hence atomology, etymology, the science of atom words. All words are atomic, all things are atomic. The universe is atum, all is atum. Hence, Merudanda is the middle mountain of your body, the spinal column, the spinal cord. And this is what Ecclesiastes 12:6 is referring to. Remember him before the silver cord, the spinal cord, is severed, and the golden bowl is broken, before the pitcher is shattered at the spring, and the wheel broken at the well. Let me proceed forward. Here is the cosmological, this is the cosmological man of our cosmos. And this is the planetary system, how it is depicted. You see the pyramids in the middle here. There are 7 planes below us and 7 above us, and we are in the middle. And these are 2 diatonic octaves. 1 octave is inferior, one is superior, one is gross, one is subtle. And our earth is made of subtle and gross. Our middle garden is a mixture, but always there is a cosmological man. So when you look up to the stars, as Proclus said, the Neoplatonist 1600 years ago, you are looking at the cells of the mind of the God, the demigod, because this is Brahma who has created our universe through the power of Krishna and Vishnu. But Brahma is a demigod. He is not a god. He is not the prime creator. He is a demigod. Jehovah is a demigod in the Hebrew scriptures.
I hate to
this
do this
is-
and talk, but I need to say this, so please excuse the echo. We'll try to fix it later after the slideshow. But people are using their Nikon P900 cameras to take pictures of the stars, and they're seeing images unlike what NASA presents. Excuse me, I mean the planets, what we call the wandering stars. And they're seeing what looks like amoebas or cells. Do you think there's a connection?
Yes, they are sacred geometrical forms. They are not solid. They are called solids because they are platonic solids. So the ancients would refer to them as solids, but they are not material. They are not. They are not physical. They're subtle. They are a different subtle physical kind of luminous bodies. And yes, and you are right. We have good cameras now, and we are seeing the true nature of Venus. Please don't look at any NASA images of any of those bodies, people. You will be deceived. You will be fooled. You will do harm to yourselves. There are plenty of researchers with good cameras who are not funded by any satanic, demonic worshipping organizations like NASA and the Jesuits, who are showing clearly the nature of these beautiful orbs, these beautiful luminous archangelic cosmocrators of our universe. Now, I want to bring your attention to the astrolabe. The astrolabe was the forerunner to the sextant, and for hundreds and thousands of years, the astrolabe was constructed in such a manner that at the bottom here, you'll see the Earth disk, and look at the name of the Earth disk. It is called matter. Can you see that word there, Patricia?
Yes, unbelievable.
Okay, that's Mother. That's Mother Earth. That's why we call her Mother Earth. Matter. She is the ring of matter. She is our mother. And we're going to see how that relates to the Taurus field in a minute. I won't spend much time on that, but have a look at the astrolabe and understand these things. This is sacred science. This is not pseudoscience. This is how all the Coriolis effect and all of the winds and toroidal fields are created on the flat Earth plane by the sun and the moon. Oops. Okay. So there you see the mid-plane, the mid-guard, in between two dome-like structures. This is the firmament, the Van Allen belt, and associated with it. This is the great master vortex of our universe. There are many of these universes. We are not the only one. You see, it upsets me when I see churchgoers making flat Earth videos who are saying that the reason for the globe is to pull us away from the Creator, which is true. But then they go on to say, oh, and it's because we are the only ones and we are unique here and special, and this is the only place like it. This is not true. There are many planets. There are many systems like this throughout the universe. Many parallel universes, both physical and spiritual. 1/4 of the universe is physical and contains physical planets. 3/4 are spiritual. And those are blissful planets where we are headed. This is what's going on. You see the tree, the Yggdrasil tree in the middle of the middle garden to the left. Then you see a galaxy being created inside of an apple. And then you see erroneously here a ball, a globe, Earth inside the toroidal field. Then you see an apple over here. These are the apples of Apollo. Inside the apple is a core. Core means heart. The man here is in the middle of his own toroidal field. He has a heart, a core, like an apple. We are apples. We are Yggdrasil trees. We are all of this and more. And here is a beautiful picture that you can get on Amazon about the atom. And notice the electron clouds. There are 2 electron clouds separated by a middle garden. This is the way this is the way atoms work. An atom is a sphere. It is a toroidal field. And here again, we have more cosmology. This is why the ancients said that the earth was flat and supported by elephants. Of course, it's not physical elephants. The elephant is a toroidal field, just as the torus is a torus field. And here we see the cow holding up the world. Well, that's a cow is a torus, which is a torus field. Certainly they weren't so stupid as to think that animals are holding up such a heavy structure. And the tortoise, well, have a look at the word turtle, tortoise, toroidal. The elephant, again, these are all animals that symbolize physical energies. They are not real animals. We're not so stupid to believe this. Above here is the glyph for Pisces. As you can see, it's a torus field, 2 fish. The fish is not a physical fish. It is a sacred geometrical form. Sorry to speak like this, but, I mean, we're now in primary school, so I'm being a very emphatic teacher now, am I not? Probably irritating a lot of people, but I hope I'm getting the message across. You see, apple is the same as Apis. Apis is the bull, the Taurus, the cow that the Islamists say is holding up the earth. It's the same as a tree, arbor. Arbor is an anagram for abra. Abra is abracadabra, which is abrasion, which is the way the world, these torus fields, have to do with the process of abrasion. We have a positive and a negative electrical force field created, centered by magnetism, which creates an arbor, a tree-like structure. They are apples, apices. Here we have all these words here you see here, they all come from earth. They are all anagrams of earth. Heart, earth, ether, death, because when you come to earth, you are baptized in death with a body in the shape of a T. When you outstretch your arms, that is the Vitruvian man of Leonardo da Vinci. He's trying to tell you that your T-shaped body is your atomy. You're an atomy. Atomy. We are all children of Adam. We are all children of the atom. So when you acquire a body, you have been baptized in death in a tomb. We come from a womb and we go to a tomb. Again, you see the verb are, to be. To be is the verb is, which is Isis. So the earth is Isis. Again, the word hear comes from earth, to hear with your ear. Hate is an anagram for earth because we hold hate in our heart. So hate is an anagram of heart. We shed a tear from our heart. Our heart has a rate. There, the word breath, we have a rate of breathing, which produces heat. Again, heat is an anagram of earth, heart. Thea, the goddess of the earth, comes from heart. The definite article. Rhea is also Ra. Ra is hiding in the word heart and earth. To eat, because this heart is eating electrical electrons. We eat electrons. All of this cooked food, all of this meat, this is putrid, acidic rubbish we're putting into our bodies and harming our bodies. We need to eat electrons, and that's what the word earth is teaching us. Here again, remember the astrolabe and the word mata? Well, in Hindu, in Sanskrit, the cow is Matter. And matter is backwards for atom. Adam. We are all Adamites. We all have an anatomy. And when we study words, we study etymology, and the Hindus called that Atma. And why is Krishna always playing with his cows? Krishna, Rama, the ram, the Lamb of God, Christ Jesus, the Lamb. Because Aries and the cow are the first animals on the ecliptic. They are the first symbols on the sine wave. And so you see every Jesus, and you and I, Patricia, are Jesuses. We are the Word made flesh, and we are Taurus fields. So matter is a Taurus field, a cow. I hope I'm not being too emphatic here. It's
No, you're being great. And I do want to let everyone know that I'm not interjecting with questions because of this horrendous echo. And hopefully after the slideshow, we'll resolve it.
Yeah. Okay, here's something I want to correct once and for all time. There's a lot of flat earth truthers out there that are pointing to Pythagoras as the origin of this erroneous, stupid ball model. And I'm going to correct this. It was not Pythagoras, it was Aristotle. Aristotle is a materialist, speculative philosopher, an empiricist. We are not of that sort. We have grown up. We're out of kindergarten now. We are transcendental scientists. Our understanding is transcendental, mystical, M-Y-S-T, fire, not M-I-S-T, water. We do not have the baptism of water. We have the baptism of fire, and hence we are M-Y-S-T, baptized mystics. And Pythagoras was the greatest genius mystic of all time, and so was Plato. And so they would not have taught such buffoonery. And here is some book here where L. Boston writes, The Pythagorean Doctrine. Not at all the Pythagorean doctrine is by no means idolatrous. It is the very opposite and is deservedly spoken of by many fathers of the church. Here is what St. Cyril says. We see plainly, says this father, that Pythagoras maintained that there was but one God, the original and cause of all things, who enlightens everything, animates everything, and from whom everything proceeds, who has given being to all things and is the source of all motion. Then we have Plutarch saying, speaking of the opinions of Pythagoras, says on page 67 of the first volume of his works, Pythagoras believed that the earth moved and did not occupy the center of the world, but that it had a circular motion around the sun, the region of fire, and formed thus the days and nights. Okay, well, Pythagoras would have been speaking about a sphere, and that everything moves in that everything does move, because all the particles of the earth do move, but the earth does not move of itself necessarily. So Plutarch, writing 700 years after Pythagoras, would have been indoctrinated by the materialist peripatetic school of Aristotle, who parted company with Plato, because Plato was Pythagorean and a Hermetist, of course, teaching the true cosmology. And Aristotle is the source of the ball. Please, people, please stop making this mistake. It needs to be corrected. Pythagoras was a genius, and he would not have spoken such stupidity. And the whole Western world is actually Aristotelian. The Neoplatonists that prospered for about 300 years around the 3rd, 4th, and 5th century of our common era, Justinian the Emperor shut down the Neoplatonic schools, which were the true schools of transcendental science, and introduced Aristotelian speculative philosophy, and we are still suffering under this mode. So let us please grow out of Aristotelian buffoonery and all of this trivium stuff, and grow up and inherit the quadrivium and transcendental mythology, cosmology, and science. So I hope I've corrected that for all the good folk out there.
I find it interesting that that thing you just showed on the slide was titled The Morning Star, being that Lucifer is taken from Latin and means the morning star, bringer of dawn, light bringer. Interesting that was called that.
Yeah, and the evening star is Hesperus. So Phosphorus, the morning star, brings... This is the sun. This is Perseus in the morning slaying Medusa. This is Prometheus bringing fire to mankind and being punished. This is Jesus coming down to save humanity and being sacrificed and tortured. This is the sun. It is the sun. I'm not saying that, you know, they are not persons. I am just saying this is where so many people get so confused with astrotheology and syncretism and think that I am becoming anthropomorphic in the vein of impersonalists. I am not an impersonalist. I believe that everything is imbued with being and person and radiating with intelligence and God. All is God. You know, I don't know where these unintelligent people get off to put me in that boat with impersonalists. I'm not a monist. I'm not an impersonalist. I'm not a nihilist. I'm not a voidist. I am a personalist. I believe Krishna, the creator, the prime creator, is a being, a person who is good and embodies all of the principles of the universe: beauty, goodness, all virtues, power, knowledge. And we have parts, parcels, and particles of this being. So here we have the National Aeronautics and Space Administration saying in a report, in their official report, this report derives and defines a set of linearized system matrices for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying in a stationary atmosphere over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Now, why would they bother to train in this mode over a stationary, non-rotating Earth? Simply because it is. Because otherwise you'd be confusing people. It'd be tantamount to putting square wheels, training wheels on your children's push bikes to train them so that they can ride better with circular wheels. It doesn't make sense. And here we have bold flat earthers from the past offering thousands and thousands of dollars to provide any information, any proof of a provable proof, of course, or provable evidence that the Earth is a ball. And they obviously didn't get very far because no one came forward. This slide here shows the vanishing point, why the sun appears to set, because all lines converge on the horizon and everything vanishes. The flat Earth vanishes, the sky vanishes, the clouds vanish, the sun vanishes. And from our perspective, from our vantage point, but if we travel further on this flat plane, the sun will always come to meet us. It's obvious. Again, I won't linger here. There it is. I mean, just saying. I'll just say nothing. I'll just leave that there, please. There's probably about 3,000 miles of terrestrial plane. There should be about, I don't know how many miles of curvature there should be there, but there ain't none. Wakey wakeys, folks. Wakey wakeys. Here again, this discounts. This is a photograph taken at the North Pole and on the 8th of September 2015. And this is an eclipse. So what you see is the sun and the moon. The sun is below the moon, and so there's no syzygy at all. It's a lie, and Rahu and Ketu cause the eclipses. Thank you very much. I enjoy telling forth truth. I enjoy it very much. Here is Vishnu with his four arms, Narayan, Krishna, creating all these bubbles, all these cells, and they all come from the one cause, and we live in one of these. It's all there in our cosmologies. Nothing is hiding. It's all in plain sight. Here again is one of Brahma's worlds, a material world where we are born, suffer, and then die. So to escape this, we have to escape this sphere, and we have to grow. We have no choice but to grow. And here is the Vedic cosmological system. And what you'll see at the top is the pink lotus of Krishna, Vrindavan, which is the unconditioned everlasting abode of the Empyrean, where all of us are destined to be one and with the Creator. Not just be, a creator, but we will be with the Creator. Below that is another sphere. This is Vaikuntha. This is where Vishnu abides, and this is a lower world, but nonetheless, anything above the middle, Brahmajyoti. Brahmajyoti is this this plane here of the white light. This is where all the impersonalists are going, who think that Jesus and all of these are not actually real persons, regardless of whether they were historical or not. This is the point. Person exists, and then below that we have the world of this is what we live in, one of these universes. This is one universe, and here you can see the two diatonic octaves. In the middle is the Earth, below are 7 planets, and above are 7 planets. I'll have a look at that in a bit more in detail in a minute, because I can't expand it on this slide here. Here is the Kabbalistic system again. We have the 3 pillars, and of course in the slide before you will have noticed 3 pillars. Okay, so in fact, let me see if I can go back. Yeah, here it is. You can see there. Here is one pillar here. This line here is a pillar. The middle is a pillar. This is the middle pillar. This is the Shushumna. And the outside ones are Boas and Jachin, or Ida and Pingala. And so here on the right, notice the colors blue and red. This is very telling. Blue and red are the 2 colors of creation. This is where creation begins, with these 2 colors. White is the source of those 2 colors, and white is the magnetic cause of electrical red and blue physical creation. So the 3 pillars are here. You'll notice those. This is what it is. We have 3 pillars, and we have a ladder. At the bottom is Malkuth, where we live on the earth. And then we have, here we have the sphere of moon. Yesod, Hod is Mercury. Netzach is the moon, Venus. Tifereth is the sun in the middle, the heart chakra. Chesed is Mars. Geburah is Jupiter. Binar is Saturn. Hokmah is Uranus. Kether is Neptune, and this is the ladder we climb. This is Jacob's ladder. Here we have all the domes. Why do they make domes? Because dome is domain, dominus, the Lord, the domicile, the dominion, the king dome, who built his kingdom in wisdom. Notice the word dome is, of course, Adam, dominus, atom, and then Wiz is Isis. Isis and dominus. That's what it is. Krishna and Radharani, wisdom. I hope I haven't gone too fast. I'd love to spend 10 minutes on each slide here, guys. Here is the domes. Everything is domes. And here you see Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel showing the story of creation, because this is how universes are. They are domes. They are vaults of heaven, above. Here again we see all the domes. Why are all these buildings built in domes? Because they are mimicking the heavens above, on earth. As above, so below. Here the eye shows to be a series of domes, and this is how we see. And that's why you see the Eye of Horus, the so-called Illuminati symbol, which is basically the sun in the sky, or Mount Meru, which is watching us, watching all things. The stars are watching us. This is dome structure. Our eye is made like this. Here we have the question again. How can a photographer take a long exposure photograph of the night sky if he is standing on a spinning ball? It is impossible. He would have to be standing right at the center of the North Pole. You cannot do it on a spinning Earth. This is ridiculous. People, we need to take hold of our intelligence and understand these things. Here we have another alchemical view of how we get out of this, condition. And there you go. This is, again, the Egyptians. Nut. She was held up. She was held up by the night sky, by all of these meters, which show that there are cosmological forces which are keeping the firmament above us in its place. You know, the four angels and the four winds, and the Creator instructs them to keep the creation composed. Here we have the UN flag, of course, hiding it and rubbing it in your noses. Notice the 32 segments of this circular graphic here. Very, very telling. 32 degrees of Freemasonry. Here we have the Gravity Globe Jail. G stands for enslavement, folks. It's not geometry. Well, it is geometry. But you see, it's the wrong kind. If they can make a universe that doesn't exist and put you in it, and you believe that it works the way they tell you, well, all of your other senses and all of your other perspectives will be and are distorted.
And you'll
Simple.
be in jail, mental jail.
Absolutely, 100%. There it is, the Japanese CGI, quote unquote, image, magic Santa globe. It's about as real as Santa Claus, folks. All right, now I'm done with that. So back to me.
I'm
Sorry
hoping there's
about
no
that.
echo. The echo still exists.
Oh.
Okay, so do you have headphones on? That's
I
key.
can.
Yeah, that's what stops the echo from happening. I've got my little earbud I always wear. So I'm...
Just bear with me.
Oh, yes, please. When I first started doing Google Hangouts, I had a lot of echo issues. Unlike radio broadcasting, no one sets this up for me like an engineer in radio does when you're at a radio station.
Yeah, it's quite a shame that there was echo there, because I really...
No, it was okay. Not with you.
I get
Just when
distracted,
I
and if there are any technical distractions, my mind doesn't work the same. I like everything very, very, perfectionist, and my mind just doesn't work the same. So I feel that I've somewhat been a little bit dim in my delivery, but the content is still good, but I wish I had, say, more time and better technical.
Well, we've got about 15 more minutes, and
all right.
I think what
Let's
you
see if that-
expressed was perfect.
Let's see if that
Echo?
works.
Still there.
Nothing.
No, the echo still exists.
No, there's something wrong. This is not even working. It's not even talking to my computer. It's got to be Google Hangouts, because it was working before.
Yes, it was.
Let's
Okay,
not
so-
worry about that for now.
We're going to
I'll,
just say, please excuse the echo. It happens after the slideshow. So I will ask a question and then not say anything. Can you speak to flesh eating, meat eating, veganism? We discussed we'd talk about that. Your lifestyle, what you do, and why you feel it's essential.
Well, I want to say that 7 or 8 years ago, I stopped eating the flesh of rotting dead carcasses. I stopped being a carcass cruncher, as Shelley put it 200 years ago. He was a great vegetarian, called them carcass crunchers. And syncretism, I've studied theological works. I've studied astrology, astronomy, music, languages, all of these great things, the Bible, as a Jehovah's Witness for 30 years all my life. And I've had my nose in books all my life, but I never got it. I was forever learning, but never coming to an accurate knowledge of truth. As it says in the Christian Greek scriptures, until I stopped eating meat. Syncretism came to me after I stopped polluting my blood. There's only one thing that you're doing by eating flesh, and that is polluting your blood. And this is a crime and a sin against the Creator. The blood must be purified. You must offer to the Creator in service, not self-service, service to others, pure blood. And a pure nervous fluids. And you can only do that by keeping your body chemistry alkalized. People who eat meat, it's so acidic that the acidity level goes down below 7 and 7.34, I think it is. And you can test this. You can go to the chemist and get testing kits, and you can test your urine and see. And acidity, the ruler of acidity is Saturn. Saturn is Satan. The ruler of alkalinity is the sun, because the Arabic word al-kali, that's kali, alka and al-kali, that's the sun. And so it's an Arabic word, and it means the sun, and it means alkalinity. And so you've got this war between Horus and Set. And so we read about Jesus and Satan, Horus and Set, and this war against good and evil. In your body, that war translates as the war against alkalinity and acidity. And that must be balanced out. And so acidity is our enemy. And if you happen to get hit by a bus and die, and you're still eating flesh meat, all those prayers you ever uttered and all those hopes of ascending and going to a beautiful place called paradise, whatever your teaching teaches you, that won't happen. This is why monsters and demons, monsters are moon stars and demons are deities of the moon, get bounced back by the moon. Remember, the moon is the first sphere. So souls ascending, they get bounced back. And this is why Circe or Circe, Ulysses, turned Ulysses' men into swine. This is why Pinocchio's friends were turned into donkeys. See, that's what the myths are telling us, that if we do asinine things, we get bounced back. And that's why we are here, because we've done asinine things, including the flesh eating. These are things.
Can you put your microphone on mute for just one moment? I think this will make the echo cease. Okay. Oh, good. No, when you've muted it, I won't hear the echo. Okay, good. Just for a moment, just so I can speak. We're going to have to do it this way. And I will try to speak less than I normally do and let you have the floor to avoid the echo as much as possible. But 3 years ago, as of January 1st, I became vegan from vegetarian before that. And prior to that, eating meat, just grew up in a normal way, eating meat and dairy, eggs, fish, everything. But 3 years ago, I became vegan for animals' sake, not for health's sake. Good health, I already had it, and it's continued. But I noticed in myself some level of consciousness growing after I stopped eating all animal products. And I believe that this sounds crazy because I know there are many flat earthers who eat meat and know more about flat earth than I do. But I believe it was part of my personal growth to bring myself spiritually conscious, I think, to the point where flat earth, when I figured it out, was much more easy for me to accept. That's just my take on it. Now you can unmute your mic, Santos, and continue. Good?
Yeah. Look, my story was the same, really. Prior to giving up meat, I was only eating chicken and fish, thinking that white meat is somehow cleaner than it's not. Fish is the worst of the worst of the worst. Fish is the most putrid anything you can put into your body. I would rather put battery acid in my body than eat any kind of a fish. It's just so disgraceful to put such putrid food in your body. And that's because, I followed naturopaths and nutritionists. I mean, naturopaths, they're still half-truthers. Everything Everything is disqualified by syncretism. Without syncretism, everyone's just blah, 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 half-truthers. And because they don't know how to syncretize everything. And the sine wave is the way to syncretize everything. And what is the sine wave? Well, if you look at the analemma, there is the equator, there is the Tropic of Cancer, and there is the Tropic of Capricorn. And of course, this is March the 21st. This is September 23rd. Here we have June 21st. And here we have December 21st. And so we're about here now. It's the 5th of January. That was the birthday of Jesus. That's the birthday of St. John. Here, St. John, as the sun goes down, gets his head cut off at 8.5 degrees. At 8.5 degrees above the equator, at 8.5 degrees above the equator. This is stupefying stuff. So on the way down, John the Baptist gets beheaded, and on the way up, Jesus gets born in Easter, because this is all here. From here to here is Aries. And this is why Aries is such a loved sign. They're all loved signs, but Aries, here we have most of your religious celebrations on the planet are celebrated here. The Jews celebrate a lot of theirs in Libra, which happens here. This is Libra. This is Judgment Day here. Funny, why would that be called Judgment Day? Atonement Day at the equinox of September 23rd. You notice a lot of Hollywood stars, they have 23 on their shirts. 23 is everywhere in movies because that's Judgment Day, at-one-ment day, at one mind, because it's balance. That's why they celebrate Yom Kippur, Tishri, Rosh Hashanah. Oh, well, Tishri is the month. Tishri is their first secular month. This is their first sacred month. Aries, opposite. So Aries is their first sacred month. This is where Abraham sacrifices Isaac here, because Abraham is the ram, and then he gets the ram in the thicket instead of I sacrifice Isaac, I sacrifice my son. Funny, the word slaughter has the word laughter in it to remove the S. So it's all about mythology. Here you'll have Noah's Ark supposedly landed on Mount Moriah just after Mount Ararat. Here, Jericho fell here. The Israelites come out of the Red Sea here in Aries, the lamb. They celebrate the Passover here because the sun passes over. And so Easter is the Passover, and they have the Passover lamb, Aries. I mean, it's all happening on here. And so Leo the lion, here you've got Cancer here. This is Cancer. Gemini is here. Taurus is here. In this part here, because it's the symbol of the Taurus field. And here you have Leo over here, the lion, the heart. And then as it comes down, this will be Virgo coming down, Aries going up. And this is where, you know, I said before, the Virgin, Virgo, asks for John the Baptist's head to be cut off because he's got to go down to winter, down to hell and Tommy. And it's funny because the nickname or the festival of December 21st is called St. Tom Day, St. Tom's Day, St. Thomas. That's why you go to hell and Tommy. And so all things happen here. And this is why astrology works tropically, because Aries will always be here on the ecliptic. Aries, the constellation in the sky, in the firmament, which precesses, which the sidereal astrologers claim to be Aries, that's just a starry figure in the sky. But Aries is here on the ecliptic, and it never moves. It always starts on March the 21st and always ends here at April the 21st. And this energy that the sun is channeling as it vortexes up to the Tropic of Cancer, that is always Aries. It will never be Aquarius. It will never be Pisces. It will always be, and all people born here, no matter whether they are in the southern hemisphere or the northern hemisphere, will always be Aries, because Aries is climbing up here from the equator to through the middle of the figure eight and stopping here. Therefore, that energy defines Arians. This energy defines Leos, you know, and so on and so forth. And so that is the sine wave, without which you're always a half-truther. It's the sine wave. It is the teacher of all of our science, both natural and transcendental science.
I'll interrupt quickly to ask you if you know about the book Dance of the Zodiac.
Yeah, hang on a tick.
I won't speak. It's like there's
This
two
is
of me
my
here.
friend Bill from William Schreiber.
Oh, you've got it too.
Oh yeah, of course. I actually have this on my website available, but it goes back to Bill's site. I don't have anything to do with the sales of this book, but I promote it on my site. So I don't get a cent from, they're only $20 anyway. But William Schreiber is the producer of this book. And so, and I've done this in my presentations many times. I've actually gone through all the signs, starting from Aries, showing how all the facial features only coincide tropically, not sidereally. So, you know, as for the Jyotish astrologers who say, I was born on the 24th of March, I'm Piscean, have a look closely if you can't see Aryan features, folks. A prominent head, a long face, all of this circles here for the horns of the ram, the brows, just everything. The sharp edges, the magnetic contours, everything is very defined in Aryans. I mean, please, there is just no mistake about it. Look at that Eddie Murphy, for instance, that magnetic rock-like energy.
Leonard Nimoy too, especially as Spock.
For sure. Have a look at the Taurians with their beautiful Venetian eyes, the cow eyes. I love Taurian eyes. They're so earthy and they're so solid and stiff, you know, or not stiff, please. And firmly fixed. I'm trying to say, and not necessarily solid, but it's a very it's a sign that has stability about it.
Yes,
earthy. Yes. Look at the Geminians with their two faces. Sorry, that's Cancer.
I'm Aquarius. I wonder if I have
no.
Aquarius.
Where's Gemini? Oh, gee, I've lost a page here. All right, I'll get back to that. I want to fly
Somebody
through.
might have torn it out. It's over.
See the moon? These are Cancerians. Look at the forehead here, Meryl Streep. That's the moon. It's clearly the moon. These, and look at their eyes. You can see the crab. You can see crabby features. Look at the pussycats. These are cats. Banderas, he looks like a lynx. Harry Belly. Halle Berry. Definitely a jaguar.
That's Leo?
Yeah, this is all Leo. These are the cats, the pussycats. See the way they see their posture, the chest sticking out. Look at these are all cats. Look at the Virgoans. Oh no, we've gone to Gemini. Okay, there's the page. I lost it before. Look at the two faces, the skewed look. One eye goes, Paul McCartney has that. So has Clint Eastwood. You see one eye going one way, one eye going the other way. Bob Dylan, Geminians. These are all Geminians. You can see two faces. You can see a sort of a mismatch.
Joan Rivers,
you know?
might have been attributed to plastic surgery. And
I can pick Gemini.
Paul McCartney might not even be himself.
Yeah.
Original. Interesting.
Virgoans. Look at the earthy, mercurial, bohemian look. These guys are wizards and witches and bohemians and the mercurial, good with their analyzing, analytical abilities and so forth. You can see it on the face. And you can only do this tropically. It doesn't work sidereally, guys. I'm not saying sidereal is inaccurate. Please don't misquote me again. There's hundreds and thousands of misquoting pages of me on the internet, and they're all ridiculous. Libra, balanced round features, long dimples because of the scales. You see Matt Damon, long dimples, vertical dimples. And Bill explains here all the features, so you can learn this yourself. I'll be quick. I know I've only got another minute. There's the Scorpio. See the bird beaks? You cannot mistake the beak of the eagle. See the eagle? And you can see that deep, penetrating eagle look. Sagittarians, the happy, glowing, long face, the big horse teeth, the fire of Sagittarius. Very happy sign, these Sagittarians. You see the way they walk around? Even explains how they walk. You can see the way they walk. There's your Capricorns, the goat. Again, very similar to Aries here, but earthy. You can't mistake these features, folks. Aquarian, look at that.
That's me.
Sort of, yeah. Okay, you can see the mind look. These people are very trapped in the mind kind of thing. It's when I look in the eyes of an Aquarian, I see a mind thinking, the human. This is the human sign, humanity. What differentiates man from the animals? The mind. And Aquarius is the chief sign that epitomizes that. There's the Pisceans. Again, skewed facial look. It's a mutable sign. You can see the fish. You can clearly see it. You can see the eyes of the fish, the dreamers, the hippies. These guys are opposite Virgo, the other Bohemians of the zodiac. These guys they're also happy. Jupiter's the ruler and makes them happy. And then he goes on to show how you mix ascendant with sun sign. And when you mix the ascendant with the sun sign, then you get more accuracy, because sometimes I've actually guessed, instead of guessing the sun sign, I've guessed the ascendant. Because if you're born at night, the sun is below the horizon, your ascendant now gives you more features, and your sun sign is less prominent. So I've made that mistake. I've tried to guess people's signs, and I got it wrong. But then when I do their chart, it was their ascendant that I guessed, because I can see it. My eye is trained to see these facial features. That's it.
Interesting. And our echo's gone too. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, probably because turning the button on and off did it.
No, it's still there.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Well, it's been wonderful speaking with you.
Thanks, Patricia.
There's so many other things I'd like to talk to you about, ask you about, but the echo's too annoying.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
No,
and in the description box, so many different ways to find out more about you. I'll even put the book that you just spoke of in the description box. Thank you so much, Santos. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Me too.
Santos Bonacci.
Omnia Vincit Veritas. Sorry.
Say it again so we can hear it.
Omnia Vincit Veritas. Sorry.
The echo's killing us.
Mm.
But keep it flat.